I'm harvesting the peppers. We had a hard frost last night, so I was expecting them to be ruined, but actually they look like they're still okay. I'm only gonna harvest the red ones. Last year I harvested everything, green ones and red ones. None of us really like green peppers, so they just sat in the freezer and made me feel like I was being wasteful. So this year I'm just gonna not even put them in the freezer, and that will ease my guilt later on. The harvest is being made interesting by the fact that the ducks want to help me. Yeah, thanks for your help, guys. You're real awesome. It's been about 3 weeks, I guess, since I last harvested for the farmer's market. So you can see that I have got quite a few in that 3 weeks that have ripened, even though it's been cold and frosty. We've had probably 4 or 5 light frosts. I did put a tarp over them for a little while, but it didn't stay for long. The wind blew it off, and I put it back on, and then the wind blew it off, and I put it back on, and the wind blew it off, and I just gave up. So these ones are shishitos, and they do taste good green. So I'm gonna harvest those. We do the thing that everybody on the internet is talking about, where we blister them, and then I make a dip. I literally just take mayo and add Cajun seasoning, and it's delicious. They're really good. I definitely recommend it. We'll grow them again next year. This is a chocolate bell pepper. They're kind of cool. They taste just like a normal sweet pepper. The color, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of them. Somebody requested I grow them this year, but I never heard from that person ever again, and they didn't sell at the farmer's market. So I don't know. I'll give them another year. I'm a sucker for a weird variety. I can't help myself. So the ducks have been in the garden for about 2 weeks now, and it looks completely different. It's very muddy now. The ground is really packed down hard. I don't know if it was beneficial or not, but they had a good time. And I'm repairing the fence on my newer garden. A few things took it out. One was this sunflower. It has a really big head on it. That is probably a 14-inch sunflower head. It's not super tall, taller than me though. Anyways, it was here, and it fell, and it pulled all the dirt up. But it's okay, because I'm gonna put the ducks in here, and they're gonna make a mess of it. So, the other thing that took my fence out is, well, this was the Malabar spinach, and there's quite a lot of that. Oh, these wasps. The wasps are getting really desperate, and they're quite dangerous, but also really easy to kill. So the Malabar spinach was here. This is a cucuzzi here. And then this was the biggest morning glory vine I've ever seen in my entire life. Abby planted it, and for a while we didn't even know what it was because it only got like a dozen flowers. But it really took this fence out. So this is my mission, is to fix this fence and then move the ducks into here, so maybe they can have a go at my garden. Since the farmer's market finished, I've just been ignoring my gardens. I've been working on other things, and no regrets. That's a totally acceptable thing to do, but now I'm coming out here and just seeing just how big of a job I have to do still, and it's already the end of November. So I've always kept my annuals and my perennials separate, and I've never really known why I do that. Why is it that I insist that my perennials not be in the same garden as my annuals? I think I figured it out. because I'm about to give this garden to the ducks, but we put some asparagus in this garden. We put strawberries too, but not a single one of them survived. But we put some asparagus in this garden. So that means before I can put the ducks in here, I need to protect the asparagus from the ducks. So that is a reason to not keep your perennials in your annual garden. I have an absolutely massive to-do list right now. The girls are still in bed, and I just got up and came out and started working on it. The first step is that I'm moving the ducks. I'm moving the ducks into the other garden now. I want to do that so that I can start preparing the beds in the big garden for the winter. I want to get the rows over there piled up nicely. I want to add some compost and some manure, and then I want to cover the whole thing with straw. And that's how I want to put it to bed for the winter. And it's already the end of November, so I'm a little bit behind as usual, which is okay. It's not a race. Also on the to-do list for today, I want to get the chicken coop insulated. And I'm going to do that by putting straw in the walls and then holding it in with either a tarp or with some spare lumber, depending on measurements. Also to do today, the rabbit cages need cleaning. And I also need to put the wall on my greenhouse. And I also need to take down the tobacco that has been drying for the last month or two. And then I need to hang up some stevia to dry and hang up the rest of the tobacco to dry. There's no way on earth I'm ever going to finish all of that today. Not even close, not even a fraction of it. I also need to take the girls to the library today because I need to upload a video, and that goes a lot faster at the library than it does off of my phone. And there's something else. Oh, well, I'm still editing a video. I need to make a thumbnail for a video, and I have a book that I need to return to the library in 2 days, and I haven't finished it yet. And I don't think I'm going to finish it because reading is not high on the priority list, which is a shame because it's an interesting book and I waited for weeks for it, but I have to return it because it's the wait list. So that is how it is to have too many things that I'm passionate about. The cold weather has arrived, which means lots of extra work. It is time to start lugging hot water from the house out to thaw out all the waterers. This is our third morning with frozen waterers. The first day they were pretty thin ice. I could just break them with my hands. But yesterday and today we had to start lugging buckets of warm water to defrost these waterers. Hey, sweetheart. Big guy. So I just let those sit there for a little bit and I'll go do the chickens. The cycle of the seasons is definitely something to get used to because you sort of, in the spring, you have loads of babies and chores start to get complicated because you have your meat chickens and you have the ducks and you have the laying hens, and then you have the chicks, and then, you know, you have baby rabbits. Things get complicated. And then into the fall, you start culling the herd. And then chores get easy again. You have a couple of months of chores that take hardly any time at all. And then you get a freeze. And then chores get complicated again. Hi guys, is your water frozen? I don't know if I can break it today. I'll give it a try. There we go. Oh, it's slippery. I'm gonna fall in. Blueberry. People buddy. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about you, big guy. Can't forget about you. Hey big guy. This is T-Rex. He's in isolation because he fights too much. You're still good for food for a couple days. Big handsome T-Rex. What's left in the bucket gets poured out for the chickens. These waterers are useless when they freeze. There you go, guys. You guys seem like you're hungry this morning. Are you extra hungry this morning? So I got a couple of projects I want to take on in my chicken coop now that the cold weather is here. So one problem that I have is I've got a whole bunch of young chickens who never grew out of sleeping in the nesting boxes. And so my nesting boxes are constantly covered in poo, and then the hens don't want to lay in them because they don't want to sit in a poo-filled nesting box. I've gone through trying to put them onto this perch at night. They just go straight back. I haven't had much success with that. So I'm going to try hanging a bit of tarp from there that I can drop down to cover the whole nesting box at night. So maybe they'll stop sleeping in the boxes and use the actual perches like real chickens. I really wouldn't mind them sleeping in the nesting boxes, except they poop when they're sleeping, and so they get disgusting. So it's not sustainable. So this is a bit of lumber tarp that Dawn brought home from a job. So I'm just gonna nail it to the top. I already ran a bit of a pole through the bottom of it to add some weight, and I attached it with zip ties. And then I'll add some extra nails at the top to sort of roll it up and hang it when it's not being used. There. Sorry, honey. It's very disruptive, wasn't it? You're trying to lay, and I'm here banging away with a hammer. All right, there we go. So, I know, I'm so sorry, honey. I've obviously offended her greatly with my hammering. My next mission after that is to put some insulation in this coop. Honey, come on. Last year we had about a week where it was minus 20 Celsius. And my rooster got frostbite on his comb. And this year I have some sort of fancier breeds that are a little bit more vulnerable to the cold weather, because they've got big combs, big wattles, long, thin legs. And those kinds of things are a liability when it gets really cold. So I want to put some insulation in the chicken coop. Luckily, Dawn, I was originally just going to use straw. But Dawn worked a job where he was able to bring home a whole bunch of fiberglass pink insulation. I'm going to start by putting it in the ceiling and then work my way down and see how much I've got. So this is a big old roll of vapor wrap that Dawn brought home from goodness knows where. It's got some rips in it. It's kind of dirty. It's very, jaggedy, trimmed at the side there, but it's good for what I need. I need 14 feet by 6 feet to do the roof. So I'll just tape that hole up with some tuck tape once I have it up. And this should work just fine. Alright girls, I got to do some work in here, so I'm going to kick you out. I know. It's not very fair, is it? Okay, so I have my insulation. I have my staple gun. I have my extension cord. I have my vapor wrap. I have my gloves. I do not have any sort of mask on my face or anything that will protect me from falling particles in the face. But that's how life goes. So, let's make this happen. So I don't know which way. This insulation has paper on it. I don't know which way that goes. I don't know if the paper goes up or down, so I'm going to Google that. It's supposed to go this way. So it's kind of awkward working in this tiny space, and it smells really badly of chicken poo because I haven't cleaned it out yet. I thought I should probably do this first and then clean it out in case little bits of fiberglass pink fall on the ground, but it means that it just smells like chicken manure. I'm not going to film anymore because it's not really very interesting, and my battery's going to run out if I keep the camera on the whole time, but I'll keep you updated as I go. All right, ceiling insulation is in. We'll do the walls later this week. And perches are blocked off. The bottom one is open for the mama and the babies to sleep in, and obviously this one's decided it's going to take advantage of that situation. But it'll have to do for now. Hopefully that means I'll just at least have 2 rows of nesting boxes that don't have poo in them. But I really wish these guys, like, look, you're not a baby anymore, honey. You don't need to sleep in a nesting box. When you were a baby, for sure, I understand, but you're not a baby anymore. The only other one that I worry about is Nugget, because she's so fat. It's hard for her to get up there. You're basically camouflaged.
You can't make a snowman because the snow isn't hot.
It's too fluffy. Look out for eggs. Oh, there she goes. There should be a duck egg or 2 in here somewhere, but they must have laid them before the snow came, because I sure as heck can't see any eggs in there. Winchester, how you doing, buddy? You're not causing trouble, I hope. That was his way of saying, yes, yes I am. So she flew here, and now she's in the middle of the snow, and she doesn't know what to do with herself. You gonna give her a path? She might not appreciate your path. So this is T-Rex. Now T-Rex is a bit of a problem. Apparently copper morans are kind of known for being aggressive jerks, and he definitely is. He has caused a significant amount of bleeding. So I don't want to put him in with the rest of the group, but it's too cold for him in here. He's gonna, see how big his comb is? It's very vulnerable to freezing. That big comb and that big wattle. His body will be fine. His body can handle the heat, but his comb and his wattle will get frostbite. So really he needs to be in the insulated coop. So I'm letting him out today to see if he can control himself. The snow is probably going to be a deterrent, so we'll see what happens. Behave yourself, big man. Oh boy, Bethany's driving the snowmobile. So Abby is absolutely terrified of snowmobiles. So this is a really big deal. All motorized vehicles, actually. She's terrified of all motorized vehicles. She's scared of motorbikes. She's scared of lawnmowers. She's scared of ATVs. She's scared of snowmobiles. So I was only able to get her to ride on the snowmobile if I rode with her. And then she had so much fun that when I said I didn't want to ride anymore, she kept riding without me. So this is a really big, exciting thing. I'm personally terrified of snowmobiles. When I was a kid, a neighbor of mine two kids were riding on the snowmobiles and the snowmobile tipped over. And the younger sister got her leg caught in the bottom of the snowmobile and she had to be helicopter evacuated and have multiple surgeries and she almost lost her leg. And so I'm really traumatized about snowmobiles. So I don't really want them on the snowmobiles and I don't want to be on the snowmobiles, but I don't want my fear to interfere with them doing risky things, because doing risky things is an important part of their development. So I bite my tongue, I pretend that it's not scary, and I tell them about the dangers and I warn them to be safe, and then I let them do the dangerous thing. But I'm really excited that Abby is having fun doing it. This hen over here who just couldn't care less. She's like, I'm looking for bugs. I don't know what you're doing.
Not sure where to go or what to do. Yeah. Oh.
She figured it out. Hey, honey. Looking good. All right, we got fresh straw. We got insulation on one wall and on the ceiling and part of that wall. We're not going to bother doing the whole thing. We don't really want it to be too warm in here because the chickens need to develop good, thick winter coats. And if it's too warm in the coop, then they won't really be able to tolerate cold weather. So it's about finding a balance. Warm enough that they don't get frostbite, but not so warm that they can't handle cold weather. So I need to amend my earlier statement about T-Rex being the problem. He is in the middle of all the fights, but I think it's just because he's bigger. I think the instigator is actually Buddy Holly, who is half Polish, half Silky. He seems to be the one who's starting all the fights, and he won't back down. And because T-Rex is so big, Buddy Holly has taken him as the ultimate opponent. So Buddy Holly is picking the fights, and T-Rex is trying to avoid them, and Buddy Holly chases him all around the chicken run, trying to force him out. So I have to apologize to T-Rex. He's not the problem at all. He's been spending most of his time hiding in the nesting boxes. The girls and I were woken up at like 3 in the morning. The sound of wind and rain and... He's just completely buried in the snow. Dude, are you even in